Hello.
Hey Saffron, how are you?
Hello.
Hi. Thank you for your patience. The thing just went around and around and around and around.
No worries at all. I'm changing our style for people. How was your
Oh,
day?
um, well, it's been a busy one. Been a busy one, but it's okay. How about you guys?
Yeah, it's been good. It's relatively cold where I am, as you can see, I'm wearing a beanie. But you said you had family in Nelson, right?
Yeah,
Oh, oh, that's
yeah.
incredible. And how about you, Bjorvio?
Things
Right.
are going well for me. It's been kind of busy today, but it's a nice kind of way to chill in the day. I just watched some of the new Star Wars series that just came out. It was pretty good, so that's always a win for me, and now I'm very happy to be here.
That sounds fun.
Perfect. All right, well, let's get started. Now, for the people who might not know you, who are listening, Saffron, do you mind explaining who you are and what you do?
Sure, absolutely. Oh, darn it. Usually people introduce me, so I don't even have to think about who I am and what I do. But I'm a voice actor, and a singer, and I have been since I was a kid. And so I've probably done a few decades of voice acting, which is actually kind of scary when you think about it. And the thing that I connect with audiences about the most is the anime work and a little bit of the film work that I've done. I'm always blown away that people know that work. Like it's amazing to me, but it's really cool.
That's incredible. Yeah, no, I know you most from the Ocean dub of Dragon Ball and Bjorvio, you were talking about knowing Saffron from somewhere else. What was that anime again?
So mostly it was the Ocean dub, but also Zatch Bell. I was
Oh
huge
my,
into that growing up.
that's so cool. Yeah, I really enjoyed doing that one. That was in LA. So most of my work, most of the anime I've done has been in Vancouver, but there's a little bit of LA too.
That's awesome. That's cool.
Interesting.
All right, to start things off, and to get to know you a little bit better for the people, and for the fans, and for us, we'd like to do some quick fire questions, if that's okay. So
Oh, yeah.
basically, what we do is we pump our questions to you. We'll do five each, one at a time. I'll go first, then Biorvio, then me, then Biorvio, and we'll just go for it until we've reached five each, and you answer with the first thing that comes to your head. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, that sounds terrifying.
It is. It should be. No, no.
What time of day is it? What
Uh,
time of day is it where you guys are?
it's 2 p.m. here, and Biorvio.
It is 9 p.m. here.
Oh, where are you? See, I don't know where you are. So one of you's in New Zealand.
Yeah, I'm in New
Hmm.
And
Zealand, and
oh, yeah.
Biorvio's in.
In the great state of Yeehaw.
Awesome.
Yeah, we've
Okay,
never
so
actually met face to face, sadly, yet, but it's something that
yeah,
we're working on.
that's fantastic. You guys have to do that.
Yeah, we will get there eventually. No, we've been doing this
And
for
the
a
whole
year.
world will know when it happens.
Oh, they will. We'll communicate it to everyone. But yeah, we've been doing this for a year, and yeah, we've become best friends in the interim. Just talking to
Oh,
voice actors and some incredible people like yourself. So no, it's we use it as an excuse to talk to each other and talk to cool people from around the world. Um,
wonderful.
yeah, so I'll start with my question for you, Saffron.
Mm.
If you had to choose um, an animal that had to sit on your shoulder but wasn't a bird for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Ooh, probably a cat. Probably a kitten, a little tiny cat.
Smarter. That's actually smart. Bjorvio?
A really good answer. What is a color that you think is overrated?
Ooh, I don't want to upset any of the colors. Wow, maybe pink. Maybe pink.
I agree. I can
I
agree
like
with that.
it, but
My
yeah.
daughters won't agree with that, but I'll agree with that.
Well,
So
that's the thing. Yeah, they go through this pink phase, and it's just like it's a lot of pink.
it is so much
A
pink.
lot of pink.
Second question. What is a country that you've always wanted to travel to, um, that is slightly not that well known?
Oh, well, I was gonna say New Zealand, but everybody knows New Zealand. Okay, not that well known. Wow, you might have me.
I thought you might say New Zealand, so I thought I'd throw that in the end.
But it's too well known.
Well, let's say New
Are
Zealand is a good one. Not many people know even where it is.
What?
I
No
mean,
way.
I've seen
No,
some
seriously.
interesting things.
A lot of people just think it's the same as Australia from where I am, and I'm like,
Mm.
no, 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 no. It's different.
Yeah. Yes. Very different and really cool. But I guess I know that from my cousin too.
Oh, it's incredible. We'd love to have you here. What's your second question, Bjorvio?
What is something that you like to drink on a day where it's just like if you're having like a relaxation kind of day, what is your go-to thing that just something to drink that makes you happy?
Wow. Well, I like bubbly water in all forms and with ice and a little lemon or lime in it. I love it. Yeah.
That sounds wonderful, and honestly, that is one of my go-tos as well. So I think we just became best friends.
Oh, I heart you and your drinks.
Quite refreshing. All right, third question from me. I'm trying to think of weird random ones on the spot, but let's say you could decide whether to fight a gorilla, no, fight a tiger once a year or fight a rooster every day. What would you prefer? What would you rather?
The rooster, because I'd figure it out, man.
Yeah.
I'd have that rooster where I wanted it after the first week.
Solid,
Tiger would,
solid choice.
Tiger would come in too fresh for me.
You're right. He'd be rested after a year.
Yeah, yeah, no thanks.
All right. So, let me think. What is the what is something that you are currently watching a lot of on TV?
Okay, so this, I don't have much choice in the matter, but it's almost like 20, well, it's whenever my 17-year-old son is home. Brooklyn Nine-Nine is just like he's revisiting the
Mm,
entire series. We watched it during the pandemic. We consumed it, most of it. And they did a couple more seasons after that, but he's recycling it right now.
It is. It's so good, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I think it's one of my shows, that and The Office. I turn on and just it
Yeah,
relaxes you.
yeah.
hmm
Um, all right. I think it's my final question to you, so you won't be on the spot for much longer, Saffron. But let's say you could take one animal's abilities for a day, but um, with that, you won't be able to eat ice cream. What animal would you decide to choose?
I like ice cream ever again or just
Yeah,
for that day?
ever again.
Ever again.
Is that worth it?
I'm thinking. I don't know. I could probably manage it. And I'd get to be, well, I'm really curious. I mean, my first answer in my mind was like eagle because
Mm.
of how majestic and how the views and everything. But I'm curious about capybaras.
Oh yeah. There's
Capybaras are, yeah,
there's um there's nothing cuter, that if you want. There's no capybaras in New Zealand, but um if I ever am having a bad day, you look at a picture of a capybara smiling. Have you seen that, Bjorvio?
I have, dude. They are beautiful and wonderful animals.
It's ridiculous how cute they
oh,
are. Um,
so like, yeah, one of my characters is riding a capybara most of the time. And that's how I learned what capybaras were. And his capybara's name is Rajan Maru. And he's just like this little brat who rides capybara. And I love the capybara part.
That is so cute. That's such a good choice for an animal to ride. Final question, Mr. Bjorvio.
I'm gonna ride off the capybara thing, and let's say that you had a pet capybara. What would you name yours?
Oh. Ooh. Ooh.
Ooh is a good
Wow.
name.
It might have to do for now. That's because here's the thing. I have historically tried to stump my mother with naming cats things that are going to be embarrassing for her to call out, like from the back porch. Like I did that as a young adult. We had a new cat and I was like, I hereby name this cat Jesus Winnebago Henderson. And of course, Winnebago is like a big RV, right?
Mhm.
That you can
Right.
ride around. And so I could not wait to hear her go, Winnebago on the back porch. And like all our neighbors would be like, oh my God. Of course she doesn't. She said, Winnie, Winnie. And I was like, oh,
She beat you.
spoiled. So then Winnebago has a litter of kittens and we keep the runt. And I'm like, this cat child shall be named Chicken Butt. And then I'm like, yeah, deal with that one. And then she goes out there, he's cheeky, cheeky. Oh, all my greatest writing. So I would have to find something like it might be like my capybara might be called Evil Knievel. Do you remember Evil Knievel? Do you
Yeah.
guys know
Oh
who that?
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm totally here for that.
Yeah, I'd
That's
have to observe some personality traits first, but you know what I'm saying, right?
oh,
Of course.
Who
that's a
doesn't want a stunt capybara?
I heck yeah. That's a great idea. A stunt capybara is
Yeah.
going to be my new nickname. That's a great
That
YouTube
sounds like a
channel.
wonderful anime.
It does.
Oh, nothing wrong
Um,
with that.
all right. Well, that's brilliant. Well done. You did good. You did good. And I love that story, shouting different names, giving your mum different names to shout. You just need to name it something short and sweet that'll get her to
And awful, and something just
yeah,
awful.
and awful. So her neighbors will dislike it even more. I love that. um, okay, awesome. Well, well done. Now, um, how did you start voice acting in the first place? What made you? Because I know you're in acting as well. But how did you
Hmm.
start voice acting? Was that first?
No, yeah, that was film and TV was first, and singing was first. And being in the studio singing came before voiceover in the studio. But I think I even happened to be in a session singing and have somebody from an adjoining studio come and say, hey, can you come and take a look at this script and read it for me? And I was like, oh, okay, I guess so. And it was just like a milk commercial or something. And they're like, or 7-Eleven or something like that. And it wound up being a really great experience. It was really fun. And it was really easy for me to read scripts because I already did that. And easy for me to have headphones on and be in what to me the studio feels like the womb. My mom, I was in her belly when my dad was making records, and she would go to the studio, and so I guess I vicariously got super comfortable, and I forever feel safe and comfy in the studio. So anything that happens there to me is like the ultimate kind of creation. And the animation part of it came later. First, I was doing commercials. And then I got to voice little kid Goku. That was my first anime role.
That's awesome. That is so cool. And your singing career, did you release any songs? Have you got any songs out there that people can look up or
I had a lot of like close calls, like shake the hand with the executive from A&M Records, and then he phones me the next day and says, actually, I just got moved to marketing, so I'm not going to be able to
Mhm.
do that demo deal with you. Well, he was like a lot of that kind of thing. But got to work with fantastic writers, including my dad. And I've got lots of music. It just hasn't been released, but I do get to sing on other people's music a lot.
Cool. Oh, that's
I
really
love
cool.
that.
And
Yeah.
I think being musical does help a lot in the voice acting industry. I've heard from
Oh,
yeah, from a few
it's
people.
yeah, like nothing else, from the timing to your ear being able to pick up what somebody's directing you to do really easily, or
Hmm.
being able to voice match as well.
Of
So
course.
yes, yeah, it does help.
Cool. Um, and are you working on? Obviously, you can't talk about a lot of projects that you're working on at the moment. Are you just doing a lot of conventions right now? Are you doing any anime projects? Are you doing voiceover? Are you doing singing?
Well, I'm kind of doing all of it.
Yeah.
Anime wise, I can't talk about it, but there's not as much of that as there is actually celebrating the anime that I did
Hmm.
so many years ago. Lots of voiceover in different sort of arenas. And I mean, World Trigger was one that I can talk about, but that's been out for a couple of years. But yeah, there's been a lot to do between going to conventions and singing, and I teach voiceover as well. Like I'm really proud to be able to share some stuff with young up and coming people. Because there are lots of people who are interested and they just don't understand how it works. So at first I was like, I can't take people's money, what's so great about what I have to offer? And then I realized they really, really, really need someone to guide them through how to use their voice, how to find their voice, how to strengthen their voice, how to play with their voice, how to be brave with their voice, all that stuff.
That's awesome.
So yeah.
Yeah.
That's incredible. That's nice that you're doing that for now for people who might be listening who want to get some voice acting experience and lessons from you. Where can they find your that information?
Well, I mean, you can always DM me for
Hmm.
private coaching, but I also teach at a great voiceover school in Vancouver called On the Mic Training.
Okay.
And
Hmm.
they have an actually accredited program. It's a diploma program, so it counts as real school. And people do a 6-month version of that with a bunch of different subjects and teachers, and it's pretty cool and very comprehensive. But they also do part-time classes like workshops or specific classes where people are trying to pick up specific skills for a genre they're interested in.
That's
Um,
That's wonderful.
it's
yeah.
fun. Fun.
Now, could you potentially give us now? Bjorvio is an aspiring voice actor. He's very very good at what he does.
Cool.
But could you potentially do just a bit of a taste or a tidbit of what you do in your voice acting classes with him quickly?
Oh, well, I'm trying to think of what would be appropriate in this moment in time. Well, let's see. Hmm. Well, I'm trying to think of like,
Maybe
would it be show, would it be commercial? Or what do you think?
And
um
yeah, you talk,
anime
Bjorn.
is one that I've done. I've also done a little bit of commercial here and there. It's just really kind of depending on like what the role is.
Yeah,
I don't really turn down anything because at the very least, if I get it, then great. Then that's cool. If I don't, well, I learned something along the way. So, it's a win-win either
absolutely.
way.
Yeah, well, there's so many different, like the program is broken down into like 24, 25, 26 weeks of instructions. So I teach like a little tiny bit about this and then a little, and then we expand on that. And one of the things that I would talk to you about if you were doing commercial voiceover, because that's what I taught last week, is that we actually really just want your most natural, authentic self. And people have this misconception that as a voice actor, they need to sound like something. So
Yeah.
what does
No,
voice
and
actor sound like? Right?
And that's really good advice. I've heard that from John Swayze also said the same
Mhm.
thing where he's like, you need to be able to do your own voice because someone out there is looking for that.
Exactly what you are.
A hundred million people can do, impersonations of stuff, but no one else can do you like you can. And I was like, that's
No,
really, really good advice.
no, and we can tell when it's really you. We can
Hmm.
tell. So And you are absolutely unique. And it's not just your actual structure, your physical structure, it's your perspective, it's your lived experience, it's your sense of humor, it's your speech patterns that you learned from your parents or your friends. All of those culminate into this unique voice. And if you explore that as a voice actor, you wind up finding out that when you step into a room or onto a stage or wherever you are, or into a studio, there's tremendous power in just who you actually are. And
Hmm.
I always tell the students, like, whatever you do with voiceover, you're never going to go to a job interview and speak the way that you did. You're never going to step into a public speaking situation or a room full of people that you don't know and without this absolute new sense of self and voice with this extra power that you're gaining. So
That is a
I,
really good way of putting that. I love the explanation of this, of the power word that you use there. That's really,
yeah,
really good. Thank you for that.
yeah. When you know that just you, just your voice is like powerful as it is, it does not need to be higher, lower, bigger, smaller, doesn't need to be anything other than what it is.
That's special. I like that. That's really, really good advice. And just the way you say it as well, that makes it. Your voice is real special
Right.
yourself, Saffron. It's
I'm
lovely.
sitting here like, as she's talking, I'm sitting here like I could put that as my ringtone, like legitimately, just so, because I need to remember all of
Ah.
that.
um, do you do any? I'm listening to quite a few audiobooks at the moment. Do you do any audiobooks that people can listen to?
I've only done a few and I audition for them every once in a while. Like I know there are people who do them for very, very little pay, but I don't. So I don't audition for all of them because some of them just pay so poorly. And really if you're recording and producing your own self, you can wind up spending 4 hours to every one finished hour. Even just as like one of the ones that I did was 26 hours of recording and it was 9 hours finished. So I don't know what the math is on that, but it was like three, 3 hours of recording. And that was me going to a studio and I work quickly, but it's just the actual form is very, very you have to have a lot of stamina for audiobooks. And I enjoy them. I really enjoy them because I love reading stories. So it's a combination of reading and talking. What could be better?
And people love listening to you as well. Now, during those long, we've heard a lot of advice from different voice actors in the industry about protecting and looking after your voice. What would be some of your advice in regards to looking after your voice while recording or after or pre-recording?
Well, if I'm okay, there's two different types of demanding sessions. One of them is the kind where you're playing young Goku or young Gohan, and it's like it's a stretch because you've got to provide that texture and maybe you're placing it higher in your register or something like that. And then you got to keep that up for 8 hours. Um, and then there's a kind of stamina where you're going to do over the course of 5 or 6 days or a week, like several 5 hour sessions for an audiobook. Two different animals. Both of them require hydration, and hydration is something that you don't do on the day you start the day before, as it is with sports, right? Um, and also in between, it's really a great idea to talk as little as you have to. And if you have a lot going on, the other thing would be to not, like when I was singing in clubs, the worst part of it on my voice wasn't the singing, it was trying to talk to people in the crowd after or in between sets. You know, I'd go blow my voice going, how you doing? Like that, and you know, all this pumping music. So being mindful of like, maybe don't cheer at your kid's soccer game. Maybe be that quiet clapping parent, or don't go all out with your buddies, and alcohol makes us all talk louder. So that's one thing I'd be really mindful of, is that if I'm gonna go out and celebrate with my friends, that I was gonna have to really take it easy, or I would lose all sense of judgment with my poor voice. Um, and there are things like Fisherman's Friends that I use when I'm singing or doing sessions, and I want to keep, some sense of hydration with it in your immediate mouth. Um, I wear lip balm to help with not hearing dry mouth sounds. You can have an apple to kind of get rid of sort of saliva stuff that's hanging around that's getting in the way. I avoid mucus because you have to push through mucus. So that would be, I mean, I know that sounds gross. Let's talk about mucus. But like dairy, chocolate included, even bread and peanut butter and certain foods. And I don't eat a couple hours before the session, and that helps me just be clear. Um, and then sleep is the ultimate healer for voices. Rest. Yeah. Do you guys have experience with that? Like just having to push and push and push with your voice?
Absolutely. And it's funny because I've learned one thing I cannot eat within like 2 or 3, 4 hours sometimes of recording anything is
Yeah.
rice. It just
Oh,
destroys my range. It destroys
yeah.
even my breathing is not nearly as good if I've eaten
Uh,
rice. So I have to completely avoid that if I'm going to be doing anything for a significant period of time. Though, and so, but for me, like you said, sleep is really key. Um, and a lot of times also I'll like do kind of, if I'm warming up something, I'll kind of warm up kind of and do the performance. And then I'm like, okay. And then kind of like you said, I just don't talk for a while.
mhm,
Also, I found humming throughout the day kind of helps with mine a little bit.
mhm,
I don't know if that's just the placebo effect or there's actually something going on with that, but it helps me. So,
mhm. Well, another thing is if you do have to talk and you've got a demanding vocal schedule, speaking higher in your range rather than, so you wake up and you're like, oh, I can barely talk today. And you wind up feeling like sinking down into that. And, I would talk to my mom and be like, how are you doing? And that was actually harder on my voice. Whispering is also awful for your voice. So don't do that. If you have lost your voice, whispering will make it worse. But speaking up here in the lighter part of your register where you don't think you can, but once you get up there, you're like, wow, this is really no effort. This feels really easy. And it might not feel natural because you're so exhausted. But if you can do that, it's actually really preserving your voice.
That's
man,
So,
awesome.
that's really good to know. Thank you. I'm going to start practicing
yeah,
that right away.
I know it's tempting when your voice is tired to sink down into it, but it actually really helps to kind of rise above that tiredness.
Yeah, which is like you said, initially you might think the opposite, but that makes a lot of sense. I don't use my voice a tremendous amount. I mean, a swim. We run a swim school down here and do a couple of other things. So teaching gets to your voice
That's
after a little
loud.
while.
At a swimming pool, it
Hmm.
would have to be loud. Yeah.
And children sometimes don't listen, so you have to repeat yourself 3 or 4 times. But I'll definitely take that on board, and my children will think, why is this guy talking a little bit higher than normal? But I'll give it a go. um, okay. Now, before we get into our improv game, just one more question. Now, how was it? A lot of our fans are um, Kid Goku fans and Kid Gohan fans. How was it playing them and voicing them? And what was your experience?
Uh, I loved both characters very much. Kid Goku was my very first, as I say, anime role. I had done a bit of animation, but not ADR anime, and this was an instance where somebody thought I could be good for it, and they auditioned me, and then they worked with me to find a voice that was, the Japanese voices were so much more higher pitched. Like they're definitely, we think of them sort of as like smaller sounding, maybe. And our North American voices that we were working with in animation have always been just a little bit lower for the most part, not across the board. But they thought, well, let's make him spunky, let's give him lots of energy, but maybe some texture. Maybe you're not trying to be high and clear. Maybe it's more like just a little bit lower and a little. So we had fun finding Kid Goku's voice. It was a really great experience. And I have to say that the magical thing about Goku is that he was such an innocent and really spontaneous, adventurous. And, when Kid Gohan comes around, second gen sort of in that multiverse or whatever you want to call it of Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, and a great, very cute little guy, but definitely coming from a different place because he has a daddy that is just watching his every move and supporting him and challenging him. And so two different characters. And I really enjoyed them both. I really did. They were demanding vocally.
Yeah, and you're so good at them. So yeah, thank you for your
sure, yeah.
performance. It's absolutely incredible.
Oh, I love doing it. It was
Very,
really
very
hard.
good. All right, well, let's move on to some. We do a fun thing, just a quick improv game at the end of every episode where we just we today I'm thinking we do the alphabet game where Bjorvio starts a sentence with A, then Saffron, you go B, I'll go C, Bjorvio D, and you start the sentence. Does that make sense?
So you start the sentence with that letter.
So yeah, so Bjorvio,
Mhm.
let's give an example. You start Bjorvio, me and you.
Yeah.
After this is when we'll get started, right, Anime Dad?
I'm not very good at it, obviously. But because all right, yeah, like that, similar to that. So you start Bjorvio, then Saffron
Great
will go,
example,
and
man.
then
Way to go.
yeah, it was
You guys,
incredible.
I'm gonna suck at this. I can already feel it.
I'm not good, so that's fine. You'll be the second best. Bjorvio, you go, and then Saffron next.
All right. Any particular topic you want me to do, Anime
Yes,
Dad, or just
Did you start already? Was that any particular
no,
topic?
Oh
I'm
no,
just
oh, I
Oh
didn't even realize.
oh, I was wondering if there's a theme, like
no. All right.
it,
Let's say the theme is just voice acting.
Okay. After a long and tiresome session, I find it very refreshing to drink something carbonated and bubbly, but I don't think that's the best for my throat.
your turn, right?
Oh, my turn. Oh, okay. Okay. Um, bananas are quite bad for your throat. I've heard while you eat.
Chocolate is worse. I guarantee it.
Donuts are the absolute worst.
Elephants have funny voices, and they sound really hilarious. I don't think they'd be very good voice actors. What do you think, Saffron?
Fair, fair.
Gee.
Great job with that analysis there, Anime Dad. It was so spot on with your but I would love to see an elephant voice actor somewhere, somehow, some way.
Hyenas can copy elephants. I've heard quite well. Any other animal you can think of, Saffron, that's similar to elephants?
I think I think hyenas and elephants are not at all matched as far as vocally. Just just saying. That's all.
Jackals are also quite terrible.
Cool with a K is what I say to that.
Lordy, that was a twist.
L-M.
Man, I did not see the cool with the K thing coming. You're so spontaneous, man. How do you get these ideas in your head?
Nuts. I eat a lot of nuts. Peanuts, almonds, beet, coconuts. How about you, Zephyr? What makes you get ideas in your head?
Okay.
P.
Okay. Yeah,
Bjorvio.
wasn't really a sentence. I cheated.
Peanut butter is probably the worst thing that you could eat for your throat unless you're an elephant.
Queens eat peanut butter. I've heard that's how they stay so regal.
Hmm. Raja Maru would never eat peanut butter.
Suffering succotash, what was that?
Tickle fight. Let's all have a tickle fight.
Um, is that a voiceover specific tickle fight you're talking about?
Very good question, if we're being honest, because I mean, we need to set some ground rules here if we're gonna do this.
What is better than a tickle fight to explore your range? You know, the low laugh, high laugh.
You know, I'm having a hard time thinking of anything better than a tickle fight.
Zebras also would make terrible voice actors.
Good job. We did it.
Ooh.
We did
Well, I
it.
feel like we were a little bit slow.
Yeah.
Like, is it just because it's after dinner for me that I'm just like, woo, woo.
I can just say it's after lunch for me, and you'll be able to say after dinner as well, I suppose. It's a good
I can
excuse.
deal. It's definitely after dinner for me. Though that after dinner like wind down, that's a real thing. Okay.
It's
Mhm.
really happening, everybody. Our tummies are full. We're happy.
Even the alphabet's quite hard. Oh, cute!
Ooh,
I love that.
I have some little guys in my studio that I always, oh, there goes your hat. Oh, not showing.
Oh, you disappeared as well. That's
A little
adorable.
paranormal situation over here. But I bring these guys to conventions and put them on my table, hang out with them and let people hug them. I love
That's
these. I get people send me stuff.
yeah.
That is so special.
That is
I
so sweet.
know.
Do you cuddle him at nighttime as well? I definitely would with that face.
He's down in the basement in the studio. It's the
Mm.
studio life for him. But
It
I'm
is.
just so like, I can't believe it that I have an actual little Gohan,
I
Yeah,
know.
I've never seen that one before. That's so cute.
a little plushie,
Look at
a
his
little
feet. They're tiny.
Oh,
tail.
His
oh, it
tail.
has the tail. I didn't even think of the tail. Oh my
Little-
goodness.
I know. So I know. I love him.
That's incredible. Well, Saffron, it's been incredible having you on. You got such a beautiful voice. You've got such wonderful experience, and you're so talented. And yeah, it's really a privilege. So thank you so much for taking the time to talk to some of your fans, and yeah, we really, really appreciate it.
So nice to meet you both. And I would love to meet you both in person. I don't know how we do that.
Well, we're gonna have to meet in
We'll
New
make it
Zealand.
happen.
Yeah, we'll make it happen. But New Zealand
It
sounds like a
happened.
good option. Armageddon Expo, we need to get you here for that, Saffron.
Yeah,
And
tell them me
yeah,
and my friend Brian Dobson would love to come by.
heck to the yeah. We'd love to have you here.
And Gohan.
And Gohan.
And of course, Gohan would come. Oxnard the hamster would come. Uh yes, yes, everybody would be there.
All right. Well, we'll have a brilliant evening. You two, you two go let your full tummies rest, and the podcast will be out next week officially. Thank you, Saffron. See you later.
Thank you so much. Take
Thank you
care.
so much.
Bye.